Pastor Elias had served at St. Meridian Church for nearly 2 decades. He was respected, a man of order, of structure. Every Sunday, his hands gripped a pulpit carved from olive wood, and his voice echoed through stained glass. But his congregation was changing. He could feel it, like a tide pulling at his feet. Smiles marked emptiness. Marriages became performances. Families that once stayed after service now slipped out early. Faces lit more by phone screens than faith. So one night, in the silence of the sanctuary, Pastor Elias whispered a prayer few would ever dare to say aloud. Lord, give me power, not just words. I want to save them. And something answered. From the edge of the sea, where no one looks long enough to see the shimmer, came the Sirens of fortune, not from fairy tales, but from deep old waters. They weren't demons, they weren't angels, they were spirits of tides and time. They rose from the ocean at midnight, cloaked in wind and sword. Marcella, their queen, walked with calm of the sea before a storm. Nerissa, kind-eyed but watchful. Coriolia, the white one, with laughter like breaking waves. They didn't want souls. They wanted what humans give up so easily, which is purpose, potential, destiny. They offered Pastor Elias a pact. Let them take the wayward ones, those who couldn't decide, those who scrolled and sighed, who wanted more but never knew what more meant. The Sirens would lift the weight of choice. In return, the pastor's ministry would thrive. And so he agreed. St. Meridian changed quietly at first. A woman with chronic depression suddenly sang louder than anyone in the choir. A man who had been drinking in secret for years simply stopped. Donations tripled. The church's live stream went viral. But something else changed too. The prayers sounded memorized, not felt. People smiled, but no longer wept. Weddings were grand, but love became careful and controlled. And beneath the altar, hidden by stone and cloth, sat jars, dozens of them, each glowing faintly, each holding a life that had quietly surrendered its potential in exchange for comfort. Then came Anna and Joshua. They weren't leaders, just floor members, faithful but very quiet, the kind who stay behind to stack chairs, who pray when no one asks them to. When they got married, Pastor Elias officiated the ceremony. It was beautiful, nothing unusual, except that the moment they exchanged vows, a jar beneath the altar cracked. Not shattered, just cracked. A hairline fracture, but it was enough. At home, things were rough. Arguments started. Dreams were delayed. It was the same pattern the Sirens had always used. Destabilize love just enough that a person would quietly surrender. But Anna and Joshua didn't just surrender. They fought. They fasted. They worshipped together. They laid hands on each other's heads, and the crack in that jar widened. Maricela watched in silence. Nerissa felt hope. Coriola grew restless. The Sirens were wondering, why this particular couple is so special. What is happening that their things are not just going as planned accordingly as they have been doing to the lives of the other members of the church? Pastor Elias knew something was different. The power he had once felt in the pulpit began to flicker. Every time Anna and Joshua prayed, it felt like static against his sermons. His voice caught, his spine tingled. He began to fear, not for the church, but for the truth. He approached Maricela in a dream, standing ankle deep in water at the back of the sanctuary. "You promised me peace," he said. "You asked for power," she replied. And when he woke, there was salt in his shoes. One day, Anna followed a sound, a low hum, like a tide rolling over glass. She found a door beneath the altar, camouflaged into the marble. Inside was a room lined with jars, hundreds of them, each glowing, each labeled with initials and a faint image. A photograph of a moment never lived. And then she saw hers. It showed a baby, a little girl with Joshua's eyes and her own dimples. She screamed. Her voice shook the sanctuary. Candles flickered. Upstairs, Pastor Elias felt something leave him, a presence, a thread. Joshua ran to her side, and together they smashed the jar. The mist escaped, and with it, so did the spell over their marriage. The Sirens panicked. Maricela called it a fluke. Coriella wanted vengeance, but Nerissa saw it as a door. If one couple could fight back with prayers, what if more could? And then came the twist. One of the jars didn't belong to a congregant. It belonged to Pastor Elias himself. He had unknowingly traded not just their destinies, but pieces of his own too. His calling, his joy, his fire, they had taken it all. He stared into the swelling mist of the jar marked capital EE. He saw himself in a small hut in Uganda, preaching barefoot, surrounded by loving children. A future he never chose, but one his soul still mourned. At dawn, he stood in front of his church. No choir, no light, just his voice. He confessed, not all the details, but enough. He spoke of shortcuts, of idols dressed like blessings, of prayers answered by things that weren't God. Some left that morning, but most stayed. And Anna, Joshua, they didn't just lead prayer anymore. They led people back to their jars, one by one, gently, carefully. Each person who reclaimed theirs began to change. It wasn't dramatic. It was real. The Sirens, what happened to them? Did they just sit quiet, folded their arms, and watch all these things unfold? Oh no, they retreated, not in defeat, but in waiting. They are patient. They know many still scroll aimlessly. still chase validation in profile pictures and curated lives. But somewhere in every church, every town, there are Annas and Joshuas. People who pray hard, love deeply, refuse to hand over their future without a fight. They are the ones who remind us faith is not a feeling. Destiny is not a performance. And power, true power, is not given. It is chosen day by day in prayer, in love, and in truth. Not all peace is holy, my people. Not all miracles are clean. But when you stand your ground with your heart, with your prayers, and with your truth, even the sea must let go. Hallelujah. This isn't just a story. This is an eye-opener for us Christians, children of God, to be more watchful wherever we place our legs, to be more watchful when we go through trials and tribulations, to accept them in faith and in prayer, and to know that at the end of the day, we shall overcome. God bless you. Thanks you for listening. See you by the fireside next time. Bye-bye.